sort of things in the neighborhood. Oh shit. Thank you, Scott. Did you hit transcript also?
Don't know where that is on this. Interface is new to me.
Yeah,
It,
hold
it's
stand by.
under more, I believe,
I have not been a host in quite some time.
back when it was all black and white.
There it is. I got it. Transcript. Okay. All right, then we have to hit save. Um, all right. I just want to share a few things happening just in the community. It's not on the agenda. There's a Saturday, there's a big an event at the Van Nuys Fire Station. Um, it's called Breakfast with the Brave. There'll be a lot of community interact action there, a lot of politicians and community groups if you want to go. Information's on the website. The Beautification Conference is next month. I've shared that as well. Um, there's also a meeting for those that live in and around Laurel Canyon. They're having a State of the Canyon meeting next week on the 24th up at the Houdini Estate. The mayor will be there and the fire chief will be there. Um, and then there's the first of many habitat restoration days out at the Sepulveda Basin. Um, if you go to the Friends of the LA River website, you can find out all the details. Any other non-agenda items from committee members? Okay.
Yeah, this is Matt. I just want to mention I submitted there's some award for neighborhood councils. It's called like I'm not sure what the name is, but the a representative mentioned it. But I submitted an application talking about the great stuff Andy's doing with VCC and great stuff he's doing about promoting and improving the website. And I heard back today that they received it, and they're gonna evaluate it, and like around September they're gonna figure out who wins. So just wanted to throw that out there.
So, yeah, I did that as part of outreach about 2, 3 months ago. The deadline was a little while ago. I submitted our council, and thank you, Matt, for mentioning that. They'll make an announcement, I think, the first of the month next month.
That was really nice of you,
Great.
Matt. And I
Yeah.
agree with that. That was really great and well deserved.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean,
I'm just saying.
we'll
I'm
see.
just saying.
All right.
Well, it caught the attention of CD2 in their newsletter,
Oh, did
Yeah,
it?
and it
yeah.
caught the attention of Dunn, and it caught the attention of at least one board member who doesn't want to do it, which is kind of ironic, but that's a whole other story.
Okay.
But I mean, we don't need all 15 board members, falling all over each other everywhere. I mean, there can be multiple things. Someone could do the
Correct.
symphony and someone could do headbanger.
Well, they didn't want Andy to do it. Not only did they
Oh,
not want to participate, they didn't want Andy to do it.
well, I have my grandchildren in town this week and I've seen that behavior.
Are you gonna bring
I
them
don't
to
want
are
peanut
you
butter
gonna
and I don't want anyone to have peanut
are
butter.
you bringing them to the cleanup on Sunday?
I'm trying to drag Griffin.
All right.
He's
Um,
24 and stronger.
are there any public comments on non-agenda items? If not, we'll move on to government reps, which are none. And then approval of the minutes. I'm assuming we've all read it, memorized it, and show of hands to approve the minutes.
Second.
Seconded and approved. Um, just an update on the cleanup. That's this Sunday. We get there. I get there around 8:30, and we go out at 9. We'll be out there for 2 hours, depending on the heat, and then we hang out for another hour. Um, and I did a little calculation. Math is not my strong point, but I calculated what we've done in the last 6 months, how much we picked up, how many volunteers we've had. And so I did a little social media post. And again, that too is on the website. You can read how much garbage we've picked up in the last 6 months in Studio City. And I don't know how I'm going to segue, but I'm going to segue to Lora Hall. Hello, Laura.
Hi,
Uh,
how are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you. Laura is the Community Forestry Senior Program Manager at Tree People. And she's going to talk about a few issues, and I'm sure we have a few questions for you all. Are you going to have any media to share?
Yes. So let me
Okay.
pull that up and then between Microsoft Teams, Google Meets, and Zoom, I forget how to do everything every time, even though I do this every day. Um, like probably most of you, I am not fully a digital native while I use, computers and the internet every single day. It's not something I was doing, from birth. So it's not the simplest. Okay, so let's see. How do I share my screen?
Scott, do we make her
You may
a
have to make her a co-host if she doesn't.
yeah.
If you don't see
Oh, I can also just email it to you, Andrew, if that's easier. No?
the
Okay.
share button's good. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna
it should.
try
You'll
and
see it on the bottom once Andrew gives you the credentials. You'll see it. I don't know
let's
if a
see.
co-host can make someone
Now, where is that again? Participants, right? Participants.
allow.
And that is Laura, and there you are.
See, I'm glad I'm not the only one who has to, remember how to do it over and
They're
over.
just doing this to make you feel better, Laura.
All right, Laura, your
It's
co-host.
okay. I don't care if it's the truth or if they're just indulging me.
There you go.
Let's see.
You should see share on the bottom.
Do you have a share button on the bottom of the Zoom window?
Okay, let's see. Well, it says entire screen, desktop one.
This is going to go on our highlight reel for the year.
I know, and I was spending all this time on, you know, modifying my PowerPoint.
We should have come up to the yurts.
I know, you guys are closer than I am.
Where are you?
So I live in Silver Lake.
Ah,
But well, this is part of my slideshow. If I can ever figure out how to display it. Is that working?
it's
No.
Not yet.
Okay, so for me, it's like on my full screen, but no. Okay, share. Okay, I think this is gonna work.
There you go.
it
Yes.
is loading, and we're looking at trees need people.
Okay,
Perfect.
get it into.
And if you want to get rid of that on the side, you make it slideshow.
Yeah. Which I know how to do when I'm live in person,
Right.
but
That's good. We can read ahead.
I managed to do that.
You know something? While we have a second, I forgot to mention one thing. Um, going, rewinding back to the cleanup, the city approved our funding of that as a monthly event. So I forgot to share that with you all, despite some hesitation. Anyway, that was approved by the city. So I just wanted to share that.
Now,
Laura, back to
Andy,
you.
did this go through as one event and you just took every third Sunday
No,
in the month all the way through, or are these individual events?
no, I wrote up as a series of events through the year. It's the same as what we can do with the lecture series. And I put a dollar figure on it. I put a location, um, and what the money would be spent for. And it's not really a monthly event, so I indicated that in there. And it was all laid out. And then the city essentially said, I filled out one form and that's all they needed. They just said, cleanup events are good to go, and we approve. So it was a relatively
That's great.
clean, simple motion.
Well, and in all fairness, and this is a bit, we can talk about this later in a different time, without a bunch of other vendors in there and about of other considerations for the clerks to be concerned with, which gets down to be such nuances when you go through the financial training and stuff, you'll see that if we have food, it needs to be individually wrapped
Yep.
to prevent,
Yep.
right? So if there's none of that, it's easier for them to go through. And I just think it's instructive for how we should design a request and just do the rest later and ask for permission afterwards.
Well, I mean, we did it through really simply with and I think we'll talk about it when we get to the lecture series, but
Okay,
I think we can do it as a series of events.
got it.
Okay, Laura, you ready for us?
If I can figure out how to,
Oh,
so, yeah, again, make it worse. I might just do it this way.
well,
Go for it.
I have an idea. I have that rooting for LA is on a link, Scott. If you want to share it, Laura can talk about it.
Well, I modified this.
Oh,
I mean, you can see the slide, right? You're just seeing
yes.
everything, my whole
Yeah,
screen with
and
it.
that right now
Don't
we
worry
can
about
only
that.
see your
Yeah.
cover slide.
It's not the most professional, but it is what it is.
It's sustainability. We're grody.
Yeah, yeah. And I've done plenty of presentations in my life, but yeah, I'm always asking, I'm looking for someone. I'm like, can you help me? What button do I press?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
fine. Just
modified
go ahead.
our slide deck a little bit. So we have this new Rooting for LA campaign, but I also assumed that Studio City folks were kind of familiar with Tree People,
Mhm.
and I wanted to make it a little more relevant to you. So I changed and added some things, for the neighborhood council in particular. So I would guess that many of you are familiar with Tree People. The actual park up at Coldwater falls within your boundaries. We've been around for over 50 years.
Is that a 50-year-old picture of Andy Lipkiss?
There's a 50-year-old picture of Andy Lipkiss. It's funny, I'd never seen this before. I was like, wow, Andy with long hair.
He was
Um,
he was a hippie.
yeah.
That's what I look like. I think we went to high school together.
Where'd you go to high school?
Grant?
You went to Grant?
Yeah.
So did I.
You did?
I did. I was in the Van Nuys district, but yeah, I went to Grant.
Oh, wow.
So what's funny is I actually am new to Tree People, but I've been there for a long time. So this is actually a picture of me in 2005, which is wild to me. When I was volunteering up at the nursery in Coldwater,
Right.
which apparently is 21 years ago. I don't know how that happened. So I worked at Tree People, I volunteered, I did all sorts of stuff in my 20s. But I could never really move up in the right jobs. I answered phones, I stuffed envelopes, I volunteered in the nursery, I did all sorts of stuff. Um, and then I left and got a master's degree and started a landscaping business and did all sorts of stuff. But I still remember what Tree People was like 25 years ago. I grew up in the Hollywood Hills. I'm very familiar with Studio City because I went to school in what is now called Valley Village. I went to the country school on Laurel Canyon
Yep.
in the 1980s. So a lot of my friends lived in Studio City in that area in Valley Village. And I've been a certified arborist for 10 years. So it's kind of a nice full circle moment that I came back to Tree People, 25 years later. Is it oh my gosh, 20 years later. Okay. But 20 years later, older, wiser, and with a lot of experience and credentials behind me. So that's a little bit about where I'm coming from. And we'll get back to that in a minute. But the Rooting for LA campaign is looking back to this era in the 1980s when Tree People was really active in helping to mobilize all of LA for the Million Tree campaign. Some of you might remember it. I was in preschool, but one of the biggest, most lasting, well-known plantings was along MLK Boulevard in South LA. Some big, beautiful Canary Island pines that are still standing. And what I didn't know is that phone number you see in the picture, I only learned this relatively recently, is that like if someone planted a tree in their yard, you were encouraged to call this hotline, which had an answering service, and you could quote, register your tree so that they would count it towards 1 million. And so really we're trying to capitalize on that civic engagement activity. We're all in this together. Really, whether, we know lots of people have mixed feelings about the Olympics coming to Los Angeles, but the idea is, well, it's coming. Let's try to make the best of it and come together as a city, as a society, and try to use this as an impetus to bring back that desire to improve our city together. So, obviously, as you're likely familiar, we have a lot of different areas that we work in. We do school greening. We have the actual park itself. One of the newer things is that we have a land trust, and we actually own some acreage in the Santa Monica Mountains around Topanga and Malibu. And so they're doing restoration work there and keeping that land, undeveloped and well maintained and loved. And we still do lots of street tree plantings, lots of school plantings. So the cool thing is that we're moving beyond just planting at schools and doing a lot of asphalt removal and like holistic schoolyard greenings. Some really big, big projects. So again, this is about civic engagement. And as people that actually show up to a neighborhood council meeting, I know that you are the choir on this. You understand this. You are the ones taking time. So I hope we can also support you and you can support us in spreading the word and helping us all be better citizens to improve our city one little bit at a time. So these are just some examples of some projects we're working on. Sorry. So this is an elementary school. We have...
Where is that?
I do not know where Vista del Valle is. I should, but I don't, because it turns out we're working in so many regions.
Yeah.
Like areas that I don't know. Even though I know LA really well, we're working a lot at a lot of schools in the San Gabriel Valley, like around El Monte, La Puente. But having, spent most of my life in Hollywood and the Valley, I don't know them entirely. And I didn't have time to get that team to send me more local schools. But
Claremont.
we have about 20 school projects in the works at any given time.
Good to know.
Eaton Canyon, this one I can tell you where it is because it's in Eaton Canyon where the Nature Center burned, which is also, a popular trailhead. There was a nature center with interpretive displays. And it was also the trailhead for a lot of really popular hikes. And so with other nonprofits and government organizations, we are working on restoring that area. It'll be all, if you've ever been up and seen the nursery up at Coldwater, it's all super hyper local native. So they go out and take stuff from the area where they're going to be replanting it, take great notes. And so for an area that's burned, you have to go out into the nearby intact areas and try and collect seeds and cuttings. In the Valley, I wanted to put a little bit out there specific for the Valley, and I've actually been filling in as the manager of our San Fernando Valley team for a couple months. We have a new, hopefully, San Fernando Valley manager coming on board September 1st. But we have two really large projects right now ongoing. One is in a little bit of Reseda, Canoga Park, and Winnetka. It's a specific couple of census tracts that were highlighted as being particularly heat impacted and with lots of room for trees. So we're planting about 1,000 trees in the West Valley, but that particular grant has a distribution of 5,000 shade trees, which can also include fruit trees. And then the city of San Fernando in the Northeast Valley, we're planting think like 2,000 trees. And that's mostly what we're going to be doing this coming planting season. We are aiming to do a lot of planting in the city of San Fernando. So please come out, bring your friends, be planting supervisors. We have a lot to do. And then another component of this is the tree distribution. So we give away both fruit trees and shade trees. And this is important because while we can plant street trees, I highlighted 90% of LA's urban forest is on private property. So if we're really going to move that needle, we need to be looking at private property. This is an area that we're looking at, the Pacific Electric Trail, which is in the inland areas, like in the Pomona Valley. It goes from Claremont across the 15 or under the 15, which is the freeway that goes, like if you're going to go to Las Vegas, it goes from Claremont east to San Bernardino. And it's this great bike path, but it's really, really hot and there's not a lot of shade. And so we're talking to each of the individual cities that this trail passes through and looking at planting trees as a bigger project to transform that area. So, the Inland Empire has grown exponentially in terms of population and development. And there's a lot of need for shade out there. And also, we want to encourage active recreation and transportation. And so this is, an example of a multi-benefit project. But I wanted to get to you guys in Studio City. So there's a canopy viewer map available that will show you can actually click pretty close and it'll tell you the canopy cover percentage in that particular area. And so this here is Studio City. And then this is just zoomed out a little bit so you can get some perspective. You can tell, of course, everything south of the boulevard is a lot greener, higher canopy. I'm not quite sure what this is. Like that would represent the CBS Radford property, but it's not that big. It's a lot of other stuff. Because I was trying to think about if there were low-hanging fruit areas of Studio City to focus on, just, obviously this is your neighborhood. I'm happy to hear from you about where you think might be great places to plant, but this just gives a great sense of perspective. You can see Studio City is one of the higher canopy communities, and if you zoom out to LA County as a whole, and that the tree viewer for the canopy map is LA County, you're a pretty green neighborhood, but that does not mean there's not room for continuous vigilance and looking towards improvement. And tree preservation. So another thing I did in the 20 years I was not at Tree People in between my first stint and my most recent stint, I was actually the urban forester for the small city of San Marino, next to South Pasadena and where the Huntington is. And part of my job was trying to enforce a tree preservation ordinance, which was one of the most stressful things I've ever tried to do. I like to describe it as me, little old me, versus late stage capitalism, trying to fight all the developers who are like, well, this 200-year-old oak tree is like where I would like to put in a new driveway and a bigger garage. I was like, you can't just cut down a tree to put in a new driveway. So that was a very, very challenging job, but also taught me a lot. Where tree preservation is so important, and often it's considered just such an afterthought. People want to build, and even in places where we have good tree preservation policy, getting to every single contractor and construction worker can be a challenge. I'm sure, again, that you're aware of this. One of our Tree People campaigns, on a similar note, is preventing people from topping trees. This has been an issue for a long time, and sadly, I feel like it's actually getting worse. This image down here, I took on a street. Gosh, in like mid-city, kind of where the original Erewhon is, off Beverly. I had a friend that lived down there, and someone had pruned their avocado tree. I don't know
Oh,
why they even left this single thing. It was just the weirdest, ugliest. She's like, why did you even pay for this? Like, you just wasted your money to make your house uglier. And this was in Santa Monica somewhere. So we see this all the time. And just part of the getting the word out to the greater community is heavy-handed pruning is not helpful. Sometimes people will say things like, well, I don't want to have to prune it as often, so I thought if I just pruned it more, then I won't have to deal with it for a few years. But the truth is that severely pruning a tree causes it to grow faster because it's panicking because it doesn't have any leaves to photosynthesize. And so it needs to put out as much new growth as possible so that it can feed itself. But in the meantime, it's depleted its immune system because it's depleted its carbohydrate reserves to push out all that new growth. And then all of the new growth that comes out is going to be weakly attached. So it's going to be more likely to fail in a storm or a high wind event. And then people go, oh my God, the tree dropped a branch. I should cut it down now, or it's a hazard. So it can lead to this cycle of more bad tree care and losing canopy. And that could be a whole lecture onto itself. But every chance I get, I like to preach the gospel of not over pruning. We
Oh,
like to
excuse
say
me.
that,
Can we just do a time? Can we just do a time check?
oh, 7:27. I got one slide left. Yeah.
Great, thanks.
And my last slide is just saying you can get involved. Of course, you can donate. We always appreciate donations. But I always encourage people to come out and volunteer. These are just some images of people volunteering with us in our conservation and mountain forestry, parks, and also street tree plantings. And we're also always looking for volunteers to help with outreach. And outreach events just involve, talking to people so you don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting or digging. And that is it. And you are welcome to ask me some questions. And
Thank you, Laura. That was great. I also happen to chair another committee called Outreach. So I want to ask you to start, let me know about, volunteer opportunities, and we can share that on our social media and our website. And we can talk offline about that. I would like to just maybe spend a couple minutes just talking about the possibility of our 100th anniversary coming up next year. Studio City turns 100. And there was an idea, I think actually Chip floated this originally, about possibly planting 100 trees to honor, in Studio City to honor the centennial. Is that something that we could have further discussions with tree people?
yeah, it's definitely something we can have further discussions about, especially since we're trying to plant 28,000 trees in the next 2 years, which feels like a tight timeline. But that's why I was looking at that canopy viewer map and trying to see if I could determine any low-hanging fruit. So
How do we access that map?
nice round number of 100 for your centennial. I think, just in the next couple months, start thinking about where those could be. And if you want it to be a distribution for private property, if there's a few streets that really need street trees. Right now, we're working on a lot of these big grants where we're planting, several thousand trees. So we don't have a ton of capacity to add.
I'm almost,
Yeah, I'm interested.
we could discuss further, but I'm almost thinking we could do it in our 2 or 3 parks that we have in Studio City. I don't even know if the city would want us to do that. I'm sure they would like more trees.
I mean, recreation and parks is actually much easier to work with than the street tree division. And I know the arborist for the parks.
We could memorialize it too. We could do private property, sure, but
Yeah.
and street trees too. But Be a nice way to memorialize each tree as well.
Well, one of the things that happens with regards to the way that historically we've always heard that Studio City is lucky because you've got this giant tree canopy, and then come back to us later, we have other people that need more attention than you. Part of that is a function of the math. If we put the Coldwater Canyon Park in, it ends up looking more per capita. If you take a look at that same map you had, you'll see that the preponderance of the single family homes and even the apartment buildings are more clustered around the 101, not in the rich tree hillsides.
Yeah.
So I think we need to look at those neighborhoods like along Moore Park and some of those places.
Yeah.
So but what kind of trees are you talking about, Laura? Do you know what the species are and how big they
Um,
are?
it would completely depend on the site. So whether or not we were doing it in a park or in the street makes a huge
Okay.
difference. In a
And
park,
you have access to different trees?
yeah, in a park we can do almost anything. And for street trees, we're limited by the size of the parkway.
So like,
But parks are, we love parks because it's wide open and we're aiming to do bigger trees in parks, species that will get larger because unfortunately the trend of so much competition for space between ADUs, utilities, bigger homes, we just see that we're replacing a lot of big old trees with smaller stature trees. And part of the planting trees in the city streets, we're trying to get people to agree to, let us plant a tree by saying it's not going to break up the sidewalk, but we're doing smaller stature trees as one of those trade-offs because we don't want it to, break up the sidewalk or damage infrastructure. But that's where looking at parks, we really want to plant larger stature trees.
well, I'm interested, I think, I drive on Riverside, Moore Park, and seems like there's a lot of empty spots for trees there. What size tree would you be planting there? Like 5 gallon, 15 gallon?
We like to do all 15-gallon for street trees.
Okay.
And we really don't do anything larger than that if we're doing it as a public event because our insurance company, has feelings about it. Larger
That's
trees lead to more risk.
right. I mean,
Um,
that's not too burdensome. And what would if we did 5 or 15 gallon trees on a like Moore Park or Riverside, um, would we be able to put in sycamores or would they have to be smaller stature trees?
we'd have to know what the size of the spaces are. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I think
Yeah,
the
the area
homework,
has to be surveyed first.
yeah, I think the homework for the committee would be to
Yeah,
identify some spots,
that's right.
Okay.
um,
I would
measure
love to do
them,
that. Yeah.
and we
Yeah,
can
we
look
have
at,
our work to do. We
yeah,
have our work to
yeah.
do.
So, we don't have any specific funding for this, but, obviously we're your neighbors. We want to be involved and support that effort.
Yeah.
So we will provide whatever, technical expertise, assistance in procuring trees. But yeah, do some homework and Andrew and I can talk, keep in touch. Um,
Scott, do you have a question?
Yeah, so just to be clear that I understand this, our assignment sort of is to go and scout Studio City, which we all know pretty well, and come up with possible sites that could certainly use trees. And you'll be the ones who are going to decide the gallons, the species, and whether it's acceptable. Are there any no-go areas, like if it's state property or any other types of areas, LA County Public Works, areas where you are not going to ever plant a tree no matter who says okay, or is anything within Studio City fair game?
Now that's a good question because, every freeway on-ramp and off-ramp, that's usually Caltrans. Um, and I've never had to interact with Caltrans as far as tree planting, but that's not to say that that would be impossible. But, Caltrans is one of the biggest land managers in the state. So that is certainly an opportunity. But like, let's say one of those old DWP buildings, and you're like, hey, the front of the DWP building, that could use some trees. I wouldn't say there's any no-go areas, especially if something's public facing. Really, we have limits on we can't really plant in, we do not set foot on someone's single family home. We're not going to go to someone's backyard and plant for them. Um, but yeah.
Chip?
And you can also just start by taking pictures, writing down
Yeah.
addresses, and putting that in a Google Doc that,
Yeah.
can be shared.
We need to map it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Laura, you mentioned the old 213 phone number from the 1984 Olympics, and was here. I was not in preschool. Um, I was probably planting with Andy at the time.
Yeah.
There's an area where we have found a number of trees which look to me, they are redwoods, Aleppo pines, and oaks. They are planted in a line. They have what looks like old PVC irrigation, and they look to be about 50 years old. Do you have a way to go back and tell us if the area along the LA River on the south side of the river between Colfax and Tahunga was an area that was planted as part of the last Olympic fervor? We're trying to get, they're beautiful trees.
Wait, is
They're
that
on a
like
slope.
I'm trying to visualize.
You can't see it from the road because there's a bunch of cheesy automotive front stores there.
Mhm.
It's west of Marshalls. It's west of Sprouts and east and in between.
I'm like, I don't know where the Sprouts
Yeah,
is
she
because
did.
there wasn't a Sprouts.
Yeah.
That's right. We can take you there and show you, but
Yeah.
it's an area that
Take
the
pictures and show
Let's
me, and
take
I
pictures
probably
and map it.
know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I went to high school, right there as well. Like I do know that area pretty well. I went to Oakwood, so
okay, great.
in the 90s. So, all of my memories of the area are set in amber from like 1995.
There you go.
But I do know it pretty
I won't
well.
mention the nickname of Oakwood back then.
Oh, I know what it was.
No, I'm not going to say it.
I
I'm not
also
going to
read
record.
Less Than Zero, which was
Yes.
set in a different era before me, but
Hmm.
I have one more question, not to keep this going, but do you also consider areas that will have bad trees and consider the removal of a bad tree and replacing it with a good tree, like for instance, tree of heaven or giant reed or eucalyptus or any other or palm? Or do you just want to plant and live and let live, even if it's an invasive?
it's more of a financial question. So we have a lot of projects actually where with our conservation department, which used to be called Mountain Forestry, but now they've rebranded it. I don't know. That was before I got back here. Um, but they do invasive species removal specifically, and they'll take out a rundo. Um, I don't know that they've dealt specifically with Tree of Heaven, though I saw that was on your agenda. Um, so that would be a hard thing to get accomplished in 1 year because usually for projects like that, we have people write a grant and look for funding because love the idea of taking out those invasives and flammable. Now there are grants available, especially if you can make an argument like, oh, we're going to take out a bunch of, flammable, horrible stuff and replace it with, other things. So it's not impossible. It's really just a money thing because you have to get people that can go in there that have the experience and the insurance. So often that's something we'll subcontract out and have someone go in and clear a space before we can go in and work in it. Or you're looking at organizing removals. Even if you're using volunteers, we still have to talk about tools, vehicles, and then hauling away of debris. But yes, absolutely, those areas could still be, I would not want to say no. Love to see that transformation of tree of heaven to like native oak woodland would be great.
Great.
All right.
Well, I know you guys have other things to get to on your agenda, but thank you for having me, and let's stay in touch.
Great. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
So
I'll say
much.
good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. That's a lot of information. We'll talk offline about how we want to move forward on a couple of things there. Agenda item 8, discussion regarding Tree of Heaven, which we just started. Scott, you want to pick that up? I don't know if we have a motion yet, or I'm not sure we're ready.
Well, yeah,
For that.
I mean, the giant read that we did, which, by the way, believe it or not, I still don't have the signed request for action. I've asked for it 3 or 4 times. I asked for it when I submitted it for signature and for formatting, and we still don't have it. So that kind of takes the wind out of our sails. I think with this last presentation, and because the Tree of Heaven is just, it's kind of mind-boggling after Kat and Chip showed me what it looked like. It's everywhere. I see it everywhere I go. I see it right now, and it's not even there. Everywhere I look now, I see Tree of Heaven. And the California Conservation Corps just did a cleanup between Coldwater and Hooitsett, and they hacked it. They just hacked it down, and you see all the stumps there. And apparently that may be one of the worst things to do, besides make clippings and transplant it somewhere else, is to hack it like that. So, and it was really growing well. It's too bad it's not useful, because it really grows great. So I went off of what Katherine had sent me, and I sort of went into a rabbit hole, and it's so encompassing. I did write a draft of a motion. I don't think we should really move on it yet, but
No.
if you want to hear where my thoughts are at the moment, I'll be happy to put it on the screen and read it. Or
Sure.
okay. Let me this is where my brain is going right now. Tree of Heaven, share. Okay, I am screen sharing. And
Was this the one sent to Dimitri? Or is this new?
no, the Dimitri one was last board meeting.
Yeah,
So we're going to be on a month for that. Before, I mean, what I want to do with the one for Giant Read is get it, have it confirmed it was transmitted to everyone on the list, which was the council office and the supervisor's office, and then we would then discuss who we have relationships with, like with
Right.
key people, Folar, Save Valley Riviera Open Space, Northeast Trees, I mean, the whole list, and say, hey guys, help us with this. What are your thoughts? And then get something going. Because that's kind of limited to those couple groves, but Tree of Heaven is everywhere. So here's where my head was going, to make a long story short, which is very difficult. Studio City neighborhood council request for action regarding the invasive Tree of Heaven. The board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council requests that council members Nazarian and Rahman, CD4 and CD2, coordinate with supervisors Horvath and Barger, as well as relevant city, county, state, and federal agencies, to develop a uniform coordinated plan of action addressing the proliferation of the invasive Tree of Heaven. While our primary concern is Studio City, we specifically request that a council file be introduced directing a report back from the relevant city agencies, including but not limited to Bureau of Street Services, Rec and Park, Sanitation, and other departments with jurisdiction over public property, rights of way, or urban forestry, on the feasibility of a coordinated citywide plan and policy to inventory, control, and manage Tree of Heaven. If appropriate, we further request advocacy for complementary county and statewide approaches. And then there's a background of how horrible Tree of Heaven is, and something I didn't know, that it's a great host for something called the spotted lanternfly, which is really, really bad news. And then there's a few links. So I'll stop the share. I talked as quick as I could. I know Laurie's already yawning. So sorry.
It's not
But
because of you.
that is where my head went. Rather than try to ID spots, um, ask the city and the county and everybody else to recognize and report back. We all see these report backs, so report back. Everyone knows what the tree of heaven is. So let them report back and say what their plan is, while we can then focus more on Studio City. And I'll take more, I'll get more photos of some of the hot spots in Studio City and create one of my Google Maps that shows exactly where these hotspots are. Anyway,
Chip,
Andy, take it away.
Chip.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is great, Scott. I think it's a great motion. And I thought that the Arunda motion was good too. What I'm thinking we should do is reach out to Mehmet, for example. For those that don't know Mehmet Berger is infrastructure czar for Nithya. Um, and tell him we're trying to figure out what to do, and tell him we have these and get his counsel on what's the best way to do this. Because what we're doing is asking them to come up with a comprehensive maintenance plan for the river, one species at a time, which is the way we would actually handle it if we were out there with shovels. We would do it that way, but maybe see what he thinks would be the best way to go.
Sure.
And that's something that you and I could do because he knows the two of us.
And we have the version we're discussing. It's public. It's in draft form, and there's
Right.
no problem in showing it to him and
Yeah.
giving him a heads up as to where our head is going, and he can tell us why we're
Yeah,
approaching.
if he can streamline us,
Yeah.
streamline it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, and then because again, this gets back to the same thing that we've talked about a couple times, that we have met the enemy and they is us.
Mm.
If we could end up doing something just by having a conversation with Mehmet, and we don't need to wait 6 weeks to get a motion
Yeah.
approved.
Cat,
Okay, yeah, I did have some ideas on the request for action, especially for these very high fire danger zone, which we have a lot of, to ask the fire department also should chime in and because they are the ones who are doing the brush clearance. So whenever the contractors that the fire department use, or if they've been notified you've got this on your property, you have to use chemical control. You can't hack it. Everybody's hacking this down, and it's just getting worse and worse that they have to use the chemical control and give them these instructions when they give them when they send out the brush clearance notices. Then everyone that has it on their property in those areas could at least have the information.
yeah.
Um, I lost my thoughts. Sorry.
Well, I'll be
Oh.
going. I'm going to go to the LA Fire Department event on
Saturday.
Saturday,
Yeah.
and I'll bring the draft. And there'll be a battalion person there or someone high up, and I'll ask them what they think about invasives. I'll present to them the giant reed and the tree of heaven, and ask them if that's anything that is under their jurisdiction when they issue brush clearance, if there's any special instructions, or is that what you're getting at, Katherine? So these people don't eradicate the invasives and make it worse?
Yes, so
Yeah,
that's part
okay.
of it. Um,
I'll take care of that, at least with that
Yeah.
fire station, the one on
Okay.
Oxford.
And Scott, just so you know, CD4 is a sponsor, and someone will be there
Great.
from Nithya's office.
Okay, another comment is I spoke to the LA County. They have weed a weed abatement group in Public Works, and they handle the LA River. So wherever you see invasives growing on the LA River, if you can So I told them about the tree of heaven and the arundo. And I said, some of the arundo, is on private property. Can you send them a notice and say, you've got to get rid of it, and this is how you get rid of it? Instead of hacking it down. It's been 20 years they've been hacking it down, a few times a year. So I asked them, and they said, if you see any tree of heaven, they'll send out a specialized team to spray it, but you have to pinpoint the locations.
Kat, do you have a direct contact
It's
person?
just the main LA County flood control district's maintenance yard, and then from there they contact the their special weed abatement group.
So is there a website or phone or
Uh,
email? How did you
no, I
contact
have a
them?
phone number.
Okay, can you share that with Scott?
Yeah, okay.
And if you
Yeah,
have an email
yes,
or a person even,
we can
a
ask
name.
Paige and uh, the one from Barger's office. I can't remember. What's her name?
Diana?
Yeah,
Yeah, Diana has good communication with the flood control, but you can call them and, send in a
send me that
service
info
request.
because I can give them exact GPS coordinates of everything I come across. So
Okay, so let's put a button on this one
yeah,
and
that's great.
segue right into the next agenda item, which is the Zev Greenway. There's been some movement there. Scott, Chip, do you want to update what's been going on there from MRCA?
Did we lose
Scott,
Chip?
yeah, we lost Chip
Well,
and Laurie.
Up here,
the
getting water.
there's quite a bit of speculation as to what's going to be happening. I don't know if speculation is the right word with the Zev, because in one of the determination letters, I'll dig it up, it specifies that Harvard Westlake will be in charge of maintenance of the Zev. I don't remember if it said maintenance of the entire Zev or just from Whitsett to Bel Air adjacent to the property. So I don't know. I'll find out more if that's enforceable. But what MRCA is planning on doing is apparently they've upped the number of invasive palms they're removing at the end of bird season from, I believe, 11 to possibly over 30 because of the way they're clumped together and something with the stumps. So they're going to be removing the invasive palms, and they also MRCA also mentioned Tree of Heaven. Chip will know if he's ever seen it there. I think Jack Smith has pointed it out, but that was before I really knew what it looked like. But that would just go to show how hard this is to get rid of, because if there's still Tree of Heaven on the Zev and there's maintenance workers there all the time, it's going to be quite an issue. Is there any of it in the Oasis area? Did it ever sprout there?
No, I never saw it.
Okay.
Never saw it there.
So they're still doing like the rock cladding and the bioswale, and it's just still ongoing. But it sounded like the maintenance contracts that are in place terminate at some point, maybe near the end of the year, although I don't have anything official that says that. That's what I'm feeling. And then I don't think it'll go into disrepair. I just think it's going to be someone else's responsibility. Did that answer your question? And where did Chip go?
Yeah, I don't know where Chip went.
We still have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're still good
Yeah, we're
quorum.
so good. Well, so we'll continue
Did you have
monitoring.
a specific question about the Zev? I mean, the eucalyptus trees there are not being touched because although they hover ominously over the Zev, they're on city property. And I think the year of trimming was like 2050 or some
Yeah,
distant
yeah.
date in the future that
So you're saying the MRCA is ending its contract?
that
or you don't know?
It's a feeling that I have that the maintenance contracts in place are over possibly at the end of the year. I was told if I wanted more information on that to do a Public Records Act request, which I did not do, which if I remember, I'm writing it down. I will get the contracts. I'll put in a Public Records Act request. And if
Okay.
unless anyone else wants to do it, they have an online portal for Public Records Act requests, and you just spell out in pretty much detail, you know, the scope, the subject matter, the date range, and things such as that. So your request doesn't get rejected for being too broad or too vague. So,
All right. So, next agenda item is I believe, Kat, you brought this to our attention, this plan in West Hollywood to deal with coyotes. Is that true?
Yes.
Can you share that, Scott? What
yeah, let me, where are we?
it's
Coyote
number
Management Plan. Let me
10,
open
yeah.
that up.
It's simply a plan, coyote management plan by the Humane Society of the United States. So it's everything is already spelled out in the booklet. So West Hollywood just adopted it straight up. They didn't change anything. You know, if there's any differing opinions, this is something that West Hollywood just adopted, or all these other cities that adopted it also. So, um, you know, we can consult with the local coyote people and see if it works for us, and then we can go ahead and just ask the city to adopt it, just this as it is.
So, would this be like an RFA to City Council to adopt this plan? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, if it's okay with the, you know, we have several opinions from local coyote people, and there's actually a coyote seminar or something coming up in a
Yeah.
week or so. Those coyote people, they probably want to, you know, produce their own materials and, you know, have seminars and such. But if the city can adopt something like this that's already made, it's very, very clear. The
Sure.
language and everything is easy to understand, um, and just adopt it.
Catherine, was Lindsay Horvath mayor of West Hollywood when they adopted this program? Would she
I,
be someone that knew that from the inside, how it
I
worked?
I'm not sure. I think the West Hollywood just adopted it
Yeah, she
because it
was,
was
what,
in the
10 years ago?
news.
Yeah. This is new. This is a new action by West Hollywood Council. But
Wait,
you
I
say,
don't know what year was the coyote management plan, that
It's
booklet.
pretty,
What year was it
Oh,
published?
let me,
you're going down the city clerk rabbit hole.
yeah, no, I was looking for any coyote
Yeah.
legislation going through our city council. And there hasn't been anything for
Go
quite a
back to
while.
the cover pages of the coyote plan.
Right.
See if there's a date on there.
Let me get back to that.
It's kind of timely for right now
Yeah.
because they've gone just coyote crazy, like they're wolves or something. And I think there's a way to, uh, if possible, the biggest thing would be to get people to stop feeding them.
Yeah, some people leave out water, but I mean, I really want time to study the plan. I mean, I think,
Okay, here we are. Let me go to
Well,
the
yeah.
top. Is there a date on this thing?
the problem with the plan is it actually, I read a book last year called Coyote America. which actually talks about it's when I was particularly geeking out. But hazing the animals is what needs to happen, as opposed to, oh, it's so cute, it's so beautiful. You need to actually throw a can full of rocks at the coyote and make them not want to be anywhere near you. I mean, it requires some action. So what I'm worried about is a lot of the bleeding hearts on next door are not going to want to be part of this.
Mhm.
Well,
It's 18 pages. It's not a long
Yeah,
read.
I'm not seeing a date.
I know.
No, I didn't see a date, and I've got a hard copy, Scott.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't think I mean, I'm not ready to vote on this today. I really want to study it.
yeah,
Well, I was surprised when I just searched the council files that it's been years since there was anything about coyote, and I think the most recent one was about rodenticides that were killing or harming coyotes and all sorts of other uh, predators. It with everything that's going on in the city, I'm wondering if somebody has some legislation or this sounds like another one of those things where there should be a report back, because I don't know who said it, but people are going cuckoo over this. And I mean, I just saw a coyote yesterday on my bike ride along the orange line. I saw one, but I know there were more because I saw the way he was looking back for his buddies when he saw me and he took off, or she. But I see them all the time along the river, along the G line by Valley College, just in neighborhood streets on my front lawn. One out there. So I
The
mean,
one news article I found was they adopted a plan back in 2018. I don't know if it's this plan, but that's 8 years ago.
That was West Hollywood?
Yeah. So I don't know if this is new or old. Anyway, um, I think let's just everybody, take a look at it and get our thoughts, and we can circle back next month.
Sounds
I
good.
mean, we're all
it
right.
wouldn't be a bad idea before the next board meeting. One of the things I used to do
Uh,
was I would communicate with, at the time it was just CD2. Um, we were not split, and I would communicate with Krikorian's field deputy and say, hey, these are the things that are on people's minds they're going to ask you about. So rather than say, I'll check up, I'll get back to you. Can you come prepared to talk about
yeah,
this, that, and the other? Just mention to Denise, and if it's going to be Jay, Jonathan, is there anything going on in either of the council offices or in the city council general for coyotes? I'm sure both
yeah,
council offices are bombarded all the time with people who have lost pets and people who are freaking out.
yeah.
Well, the
And
Wednesday meeting is in North Hollywood. That would be in Denise's. Do you want me to just reach out to Denise on this? Andrea and
Well,
Scott?
I think you should, if you do it, you should also do Jay,
Okay.
and actually, I think her name is Sally Glass. Does that ring a bell? She's a comms director, but Jay is our interim field deputy. So I would ask them both, A, if they're going to be at the meeting, and if so, is Coyotes on their radar?
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so let's move forward. Um, let's talk about the lecture series. Um, so this is an idea Chip and I have been circling around. There is a motion, Scott, if you could share it. I don't, we can discuss. I don't know that we're ready to vote, but I'll hand off to Chip. Do you want to read the motion, or do you want to read it, Chip?
Sure. I mean, so basically, the motion is as follows. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves sponsoring a series of public educational lectures and meetings to be held at the Studio City Public Library from October 26th to June 2027. These lectures will feature representatives and spokespeople from local nonprofit educational institutions, and governmental agencies whose work focuses on sustainability, ecology, wildlife, and natural studies of interest to the community. Featured organizations and guest speakers may include, but are not limited to, authors of nature guides for the Sepulveda Dam Basin and adjacent Studio City areas. That's Amanda. Edinburgh Wildlife Crossing representatives, they open in December. That's topical. Pasadena Wildlife, it's actually the
Humane Society.
Humane Society, and that's living with coyotes. They are different from this, but I'm sure they will have similar information. And I will next week get whoever's there. Wildlife rescue organizations, they've been there before, and they're a good draw. Audubon, Sierra Club, National Resource Defense Council, Tree People, Friends of the LA River, and local colleges and universities. And there's a ton more that we could bring.
Yeah.
Sustainability Committee members will host these events and staff an informational outreach table at each session to engage stakeholders and share resources regarding the SCNC activities and opportunities. I want to put in there that there's no lift for the board outside of the committee should they choose not to help. But we'll put it together, and we will also use this as an outreach mechanism to encourage people to participate more deeply in that which we do at the neighborhood council. Additionally, the board approves an expenditure of up to $1,000 for refreshments, which are snacks and beverages, to support this lecture series. So the total financial impact is up to $1,000. Andy and I and Jeannie, his wife, Andy's wife, met with Brian Cunningham, the librarian with whom I've had a number of conversations over time, over the years. He's very encouraged about having the neighborhood council have an event there. Um, these events would work better than the pilot program that was tried by the Sustainability Committee 2 years ago, because you have a very short window. At 8 o'clock, they throw you out, and they close the facility down, including the parking lot. So we need to be out of there. So this was seen as like a 6 o'clock open hour presentation answers, with questions and answers, and then we're out.
There's a cool and there was a cool sidebar to this that the library may do some research and do maybe a collection of books, both for adults and kids that would maybe relate to that night's lecture.
We talked about doing
Involve the
this mostly
library.
as Monday through Friday, but we've also discussed potentially um, trying a pilot during the holidays over, between Christmas and New Year's when the kids are home from school, particularly like the wildlife rescue. They could bring cute, fuzzy animals there. And, there might be a youth-oriented program just to see what we could do to get some more information out there. So
Uh,
that's the
what do you
proposal,
all think of this?
Kat.
Um, I have an idea. Well, it would be great if the lecture series could be tied into a future event. Like Volar always has events, so they make a presentation and then, get people to be interested in their upcoming event.
A good idea.
Yeah, I mean, you see Tree People on there, so I'm sure they would tie it. They've got so much happening up
No.
there. That's a good idea.
But
Yeah.
Volar just did a big river event yesterday. Um, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's a good idea. When we offer someone a slot, we should offer them a slot that's contemporaneous with an event that they have.
So are we ready to vote on this?
I
Well,
got
just one question, this is Matt. Like, how many people do you really expect to come to this?
When it was tried 2 years ago, Adele and Tony Knight out of nowhere had a sustainability meeting. They called it a special meeting because it wasn't approved um, to happen off premises. It wasn't an approved event. And they had Scott, remember the name of that organization? Is it just Wildlife Rescue?
something along those lines.
Yeah, it's
It
a
was a
Santa
good
Monica
turnout.
mountain space group. They're out at the King Gillette Ranch, and
Yeah.
they rescue animals that have been injured and try to rehabilitate them and return them to the wild. And um, they have a couple animals that they've brought to the music in the park, for example, where they have a hawk that can't fly again and has been accustomed to humans. But it had a big group of people. The short answer is I think we had 30 people that were there to hear about the wildlife rescue. It's much more popular than you think. I think the Annenberg group would be bigger. I
But
think
I don't think
the
he even had social media back then, right?
No,
I
we
mean,
did
I can't
not.
imagine there was any promotion. So
No, so
Maybe
it,
with
I'm
the
just wondering.
library.
I'm just wondering if you want to like take a poll, like use Instagram, like who might be interested in this. I just, I don't know. I don't think that many people are gonna be interested, but you can prove me wrong.
but how many are you looking for?
you have a number?
What would be
No, I mean,
successful?
I don't know what makes sense. I'm just saying everything we do has time and effort and motions to do. Like, so is it impactful? So there's a lot of effort. So it sounds sort of cool, but I would never go watch unless you got a really big name speaker. So, but that's just me. But like, why don't you just pull the board? How many of the board members would actually show up at this? That's a good question.
The board members don't show up at shit. I don't
I
want to
know.
waste
So
my
that's
time
exactly.
polling the board.
The idea
Right,
is
so I don't
not
want to waste
to
my time at the board.
the idea is not to
Well,
appease or entice the board. It's to engage stakeholders with
no, no, okay, but I guess my point is, if you don't want to listen to me, that's fine. But my point is, before we like invest in a lot of effort on things, we should evaluate is there interest. Otherwise, you're just wasting time advertising things that no one will come to. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe prove me wrong, but I think it's very possible you're going to be hunting, trying to get people to show up, and then you get like 10 people to show up, and then the speaker feels bad.
Well, the
But
speaker that was there from the wildlife rescue was thrilled. I mean,
okay,
so
but like, but you also don't know. Did they promote themselves and they got their friends in? I don't know.
they
I mean,
have,
if
well, I know who's
30
there.
might be good. I don't know. Anyway, this is a
Matt,
cool thing.
I
I'm
was
just saying
there.
there's a lot of cool things. There's a lot of cool things, but I also think it's a lot of effort to promote for 20 people to show up.
I think 20 people would be fine.
I mean,
It would be worth
I
it.
don't know if that's a good use of resources, but
Yeah,
It's not you
we have
that's doing it, Matt.
we have active committees dealing with some major issues where the turnout from the public is zero. So if we were to gauge everything by whether the public is interested, we would probably just close shop. The library is actually a very good venue, much better than Radford. And there's a self-promotion just for the fact that it's at the library. Our library does pretty good business, and when they have events there, people show up because
I,
people know what's going on at the library.
ironically,
no,
the
it's a
last
great library. I love the library. I love the library. Anyway, that's just my opinion. You don't have to listen to it, but you go for it. But if people don't show up, then I don't know if it's a good use of time. But go for it and see what happens.
Well, I guess if nobody shows up, we cancel the future events.
Yeah, right. That's fine.
Lack of
All I'm
interest.
saying is you could do a survey in advance and see if there's interest before you waste the effort.
you got to trust those of us who know how to engage and are involved in the community. I don't want to go out and do surveys on everything that we're going to work on this neighborhood council. I think we should be proactive, not reactive.
Well,
I agree.
because we'll physically be there, as Kat mentioned about promoting and cross promoting. We'll have an election coming up, and we'll be able to pass out ballot information about people getting involved in the neighborhood council. We can give information that there's a centennial. There's no other way that we physically interact and attract more public involvement. And this is to complement like the trash events. And if we ever do music or movies in the park or any other
Yeah,
type
no, I
of,
mean, once again, I think it's fine. I just want to be devil's advocate before you like go and do stuff that creates a lot of administration. Just think about the impact.
we did a survey years ago through MailChimp when I was on the outreach committee before I was actually on the board. And I think the number of people that responded to the survey indicated that nobody cared to respond to a survey. So the information we got was absolutely worthless because nobody, it's like sending out a survey that says, How does the community feel about us doing a survey? And it's like, no.
Well, I mean,
Okay, so
okay, you're gonna do a survey by seeing who shows up, and that'll be the survey result. So
that's right.
Go for it.
Motion, I did have one question. Is this all going to be virtual promotion, or do you want to toss in some possible printing in case we want to print things like whatever it is? We will be having a table, so maybe we're going to print some ballots, or maybe we're going to print a movie in the park, because there'll physically be people there. So we're going to need to print something. And I know sometimes people get all freaked out about, printing costs, and just say, snacks and printing up to that amount.
But
Just add,
Good idea.
I think the way they
or Andy, you'll just pay for it.
be an expense
right now,
of a
we
particular
lost
event.
Chip. We lost you there. You froze. We could either add a line, up to $1,000 for printing and promotional expenses. I mean, we
Well,
won't spend it, but
well, as just an example, when was it, a year ago? When we printed 1,000 of the gas blower flyers, we still have maybe 100. But that was only I think $195 back then, and maybe it's a little more now.
so yeah. So all we
That
have
was
to do is put it.
double-sided.
We just have to rewrite the motion and add a line, up to $1,000 for printing and promotional expenses. I don't think that's.
Another 1,000, or included in the 1,000?
I would say another 1,000, because when you start dealing with printers, then you have to create a high res image.
Well, but
The
it's
way I print now for the cleanup is I design it myself, and then I have who is it? Justine. She prints it at no cost right now. And it's
I mean,
just
can
it's a
you
very but
market
it's a Laurie.
it's sort of a similar audience? Can you market both the same way? Like mention these lectures on the same thing as the VCC cleanup. Like it's very analogous, but put both things on the same flyer.
Well, but Andy, like I said, the example of a year ago for 1,000 of the gas blower flyers that were double-sided.
That's why I'm saying you said it was $200, right?
Yeah,
So if
195.
we have 4 events or 6 events, I said up to $1,000 for this year.
Okay.
I mean, that would cover it. I don't think we're gonna spend that. I know workarounds. I know ways not to spend money. I
Yeah.
also know ways to find money, but that's another issue. So if
Okay.
you want, we can just, add to that last sentence.
And up to whatever that estimate is for printing and promotion.
Correct.
And I think up to is the key. Then maybe people aren't going to try to micromanage the budget, and maybe have a little trust that you're not going to use this to print a bunch of flyers to create a bunch of trash to justify the trash pickups.
You know what the motion is for? Is it for this event or is it for other events?
Say it again.
Is
What was
this
the question?
$1,000 a promotion for this actual event or for other events that
This is for the
SC
lecture
NC puts on?
series. This is for the
So
lecture
it's
series.
promotion of the event itself. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying like you can promote like the ballots and stuff.
No.
While people that come. Okay, that's fine.
No. That's would be if we print, if we start getting into outreach on the election, that's a whole nother expense. That's a whole nother
Okay, just
area.
to be clear, so that's how I interpreted it. So just be clear.
No, it was just we were just discussing that it's a good idea if we have lecture series or any event that we host, to start talking about the upcoming election.
So the costs would be just promoting the lecture series, but the
Correct.
availability to engage on other issues would be other people's budget, such as the election budget for ballots, or the budget for a movie in the park, say, event, or whatever other event. I guess I wasn't clear. It's a place to promote and engage for other things,
Yeah.
but the cost wouldn't be borne for those other things by this event, right?
So I don't have to reread the whole motion for us to vote on it,
Not
do
in
I?
a committee.
But please no. And this is going to go to the budget committee, right?
Well, what's interesting is I wrote a motion from Outreach about a new Tahunga Village event that will precede December. And I asked Kim if it should go to the budget committee, and she said no. We've already discussed this. Now it can go to the board. So I don't know why this would be different. I mean, I can certainly turn it around in 3 seconds and send it to her tonight, and have her eyeball it and see if she wants to call a budget committee meeting on one item. She may just say, turn it around and present it to the board.
Sounds fair.
But it's up to us to vote on this first.
So who seconded this? Who's on record giving this a second? Chip.
Chip, you wrote it. Do we have a second? I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, now we'll do a vote. Epstein says yes. Mandell,
Yes.
Meehan,
Yes.
Rittenberg,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Kato.
Yes.
Okay, approved. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 12, discussion and possible motion regarding a proposed ban of synthetic turf and artificial turf by the city of LA. So, educate me on this. Are they once again thinking about this? Is that what, was there a report back from Rec and Parks or something and they activated this agenda item?
Who brought this? I mean, well, I mean, I read the file and I don't think the city's going to do anything on it. The last thing that the city did, unless I missed something, was to say, oh yeah, okay, note and file, meaning throwing it in the trash can.
Well, no, Scott, you just got didn't you get a report back?
Yes, a report back came. What's the council file number?
Oh shit. It's in the link there. Fuck.
It's 24-0602.
Thank God for Cat.
24-602?
0602.
Oh, 06.
It should be in the link there. I put it in there, but I thought it was a new report back from Rec and Parks or something.
Oh, but
Yeah, there's a report on 7:30 from the Bureau of Sanitation. That's right.
Sanitation, that's right.
And we had chimed in on this
Yes,
way back over, was it a year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago, before me.
On 7/23/2024. So about 2 years ago, I mean, this has been around for quite some time, waiting for a report back. And
Can you share that page, Scott, or no?
you want the report back shared?
Yeah, just to show Laurie what prompted this.
Let me, I got so many windows open now on my computer. I need to,
Yeah.
But wasn't the response on the report back from Nazarian just recently to note and file? Wasn't that the response?
There was no response that I saw.
I thought I saw some,
the last thing in the council file is the report from sanitation.
On
It
the
is
30th.
pending in committee, energy and environment, and budget and finance. So the mover was Blumenfeld, and the seconds were Hernandez and Yaroslavsky. 7/31/26, Bureau of Sanitation document referred to Budget and Finance Committee and the Energy and Environment Committee. So now it's back into two committees.
Okay.
You're seeing what I'm looking at.
This is just
I'm still
informational, Laurie. At this point, it's just informational. We're just still tracking it.
Okay, you're still seeing my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, I thought I thought I saw something from 2026 recently that Nazarian said note and file, the committee, decided to note and file it, the report by sanitation. Did I get that wrong?
I don't know where that is.
Okay.
Here's the council file, and the last online document is 7:30, and on 7:31 it was referred to these two committees.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, good.
All
Okay.
right. It's really just information.
No, I understand. Yeah.
Okay. It's all in there.
There's the background, the impacts of the turf, PFAS, waste management, the reuse, the recycling. We've heard this before.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
Recommendations, disposing it as hazardous waste, fiscal impact. So it's kind of it's not a very detailed report. There's nothing with all of this that's been going on over the years. It's clear that it's not clear. It appears, at least to me, that some of this is being slow walked to prevent a quick decision on something that is probably very controversial, given the governor vetoing a PFAS regulation in Sacramento not that long ago during the Harvard Westlake environmental reports. You all recall that.
Right.
The
And
orphan
something
laws.
else. There was just another one recently.
Yeah, that's right. So while people are calling for its ban, it's still being used and put into parks. And I'm guessing, or I'm of the opinion that I think the city is looking to install it everywhere they can before they go ahead and put the kibosh on it. But that's just a hunch. I have nothing to back that up.
yeah, I have a feeling the city might be afraid to ban it, as they don't want to admit that it's dangerous, and therefore they don't want to admit liability. That I've thought that for a long time. I think they're afraid. That's
All
what I-
right. Any more discussion on this?
I think it's just something to keep your eyes on.
That's right.
Just an FYI, when you go to the council file, you can sign up for updates and you'll get an email, which is how I knew something happened, because I had signed up for updates on this 2 years ago. And
Uh-huh.
I totally forgot about it. And then I got an email that said this council file has been updated. So that's how I knew it was updated. The city clerk's website's pretty good. So you can just subscribe to updates on council files you're interested in. I assume
Right.
sustainability people are interested, so sign up for the updates.
What happened?
All right. Moving to the last agenda item, comments.
Stop sharing. There we go.
Comments from committee members regarding potential topics for future consideration by this committee. And I don't see any hands raised. And I make a motion to adjourn at, can't even read the clock, 8:20 on a Monday,
Second.
8:30.
8:30. I second the time change.
Great. We all have our assignments. Get to work, people.
Thank you.
Go to it. Bye-bye.
Good meeting. Good night. Leave.